Hello and welcome to another one of my senior moments. Recently we had a real good winter snowstorm that passed through the area and dumped a lot of fresh snow, and I couldn't resist. I put my skis, my cross-country skis, in my SUV and I drove up to Mount Ashland. I intended to ski from the Mount Ashland parking lot out along the Pacific Crest Trail to an area called Grouse Gap. There's a shelter there, and eat lunch and then return. But the parking lot was completely filled. It's a shared parking lot with a Mount Ashland alpine downhill ski area, and I think there was a lot of people that were taking advantage of the fresh snow. So not to be deterred, I drove downhill a mile or two, and there is a snow park area there where I parked, not too many cars, and I was able to have an outing cross-country skiing along some forest roads out to an area called Bull Gap, and then I returned. And it was a great day. I had a lot of fun, even though I didn't get to go on my first choice route. It still worked out well. If you'd like to see a little bit of my trip, come and join me for my video. When I ski, I dress in layers. If it's too warm, I can take some layers off, and if it's too cold, I can always put layers back on. I laid out all my clothing on my dining room table. I usually take an extra pair of gloves, gaiters to keep snow out of my boots, and sometimes an extra hat, as well as an extra pullover. Cross-country skiing requires a lot of energy, and I also drink a lot of water, so I'm bringing 1.5 liters of water, as well as food for lunch and snacks. I'm skiing alone, so I want to make sure I have sufficient safety gear, including a space blanket, a headlamp, and matches, in case I need to spend the night under an emergency. All my equipment, food, and clothing fits nicely in my day bag. I'm taking 2 pair of skis with me today. The ones on the bottom are Fisher Europa 99s. They're mine. I own them. They're at least 20 years old. And I decided to rent these Alpinas and try them out. They're a little bit wider ski, as you can see, and they're a little bit shorter. So I just want to check out a different style of ski, one that's a little bit newer. Other than that, they both have metal edging and are, waxless, although generally I do wax them, otherwise the snow will stick. So I'm going to bring both pair just in case the Alpina doesn't work. I can always go back to my Europa 99s. In the winter, I always carry snow chains and jumper cables in my car. I rarely use them, but when I need them, I'm glad I have them. There's a lot of fog in the valley. Hopefully it's clear up at the elevation of the trailhead. Well, I had planned to go up to Mount Ashland and ski back to Grouse Gap. It's a nice area with some open meadows and forests. But the parking lot was completely filled. I've never seen it like that. It's the parking area that leads back to Grouse Gap is a shared parking area with Mount Ashland ski area. And, there's just a lot of people looking for some outside activity, I guess, because it's just full. So I came down a little bit lower elevation, and I'm gonna ski here. It's a forest road, and there's a small parking lot right in front here. And there's other snowshoers and skiers, so I'm gonna go back and explore the road a little bit. It wasn't my first choice, but I'm up here, so I'm gonna go skiing. As you may be able to see, the snow is actually quite deep. We got a series of snowstorms here, and it's actually excellent snow. I'm going slightly downhill so I can, really skate or I can glide ski fairly well. Fortunately, there's been snowshoers and skiers that have gone up ahead of me. So, because the snow is almost up to my knees right now, but the conditions are great. So I'm sure that's why a lot of people like me are out here. I saw what the weather was going to be like, and I said, I'm going skiing. And I'm not the only one in Southern Oregon that's thinking that. So the trees are beautiful back here. They're covered with snow. It's just quiet. And even though there was a half a dozen people at the parking lot, I've only seen 2 people so far. So we can spread out fairly good. And the people I saw that were on snowshoes, they were so kind. They stepped out of the trail so I could ski by, since it's easier for them with snowshoes on this deep snow than it would be for me. So that's nice. In spite of the pandemic, there's still people treating each other with kindness, which I really appreciate. Hello, I'm going to ski by on the left. I don't mean to scare you. Oh, that's okay. Thank you. I appreciate it, though. I can probably trail by. I was like, how do I say something without scaring you? I'm sneaking up on you.
You did good.
Did I? Okay, thanks. I was like, whoa. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so I was able to pass by. I see there's a few more people up ahead. Skiers, obviously tend to cover ground faster than people on snowshoes. It's got to be pretty hard on snowshoes because it's so deep and it's narrow, so their snowshoes are wide, so they have to be kind of tiptoeing through this. I've snowshoed. It's not my favorite thing. To me, it's a bit of a slog, but it doesn't take any skill or training, so I think that's one of the nice things about it. People can if you can walk, you can snowshoe. And skiing takes a little bit more balance. If you fall down, you got to get up. And the learning curve takes a bit. And I've been skiing for years, though, so I'm no expert, but I feel reasonably comfortable, I guess, especially on something like this that's fairly flat. So we're coming out to an open area too. Oh, gorgeous! Just a beautiful day, and hopefully I get some nice views up ahead here too. Oh. Now that's a view out there, boy. That's looking towards. I think that's. What is that? Pilot Rock?
That's Pilot Rock, yeah.
Pilot Rock, yeah. God, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is Pelican Butte. Wow, it's nice. The fog's down below, not up here. Yeah. All right. Now I get to plow a little bit of the snow. I'm taking over the front here, so I'll be making a little more tracks for the skiers that I just left behind me here. I wanted to give a shout out to my buddies from the Ashland Cross Country Meetup Group. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get together as a group this year because of COVID-19, but I'm looking forward to next year doing some more group skiing. All right, I can see right here that this is as far as anybody has gone. Maybe you can see it if I bend down a little bit. It's the end of the track. So this is as far since the snowstorm a day or so ago. This is as far as anybody's gone, which, really I'm not that far. I think maybe I'm in a mile. So I'm going to have to make my own tracks from here on out, which is fine. Just means I'm going to be going a lot slower, burning up a lot more calories, but it's a good exercise. And I'll have these tracks when I come back, because this is an out and back ski today. It's not a loop. There's this road just keeps going, as I said, for miles down to Ashland. So it'll be an out and back, and I can enjoy my tracks that I've made coming back. But look at the sparkle on that snow. It's just beautiful on the trees here today too. Really nice and quiet. So really enjoying it. So my skis are starting to stick a little too much. The snow is starting to bind, so I'm more or less walking rather than skiing, gliding at this point. So I'm going to put a little bit of wax on it. You know, it's warming up. You know, I'm actually getting pretty warm here too. So the snow is starting to stick a bit more. So I'm glad I bring this wax with me. It's really helps to glide. And sometimes I have to put it on a couple times during the course of the day, and just wax it up here. I'm going to wax the whole thing, including the ribs. There's ribs on the bottom, which is supposed to make the skis waxless, but I really think even waxless skis can oftentimes use a coat of wax. Get a little bit more on it. Wax it up a little bit. All right, that should do it, I think. I'll probably do it again. If I'm going uphill, it's nice that the skis can grab, so I don't put wax on it, but I'm still going downhill. This road is a downhill road, so you know, which is the other thing, is that when I have my turnaround spot, I don't want to be too exhausted, because I do know the whole ski back is all going to be uphill. Just a slight uphill, but it's going to be a little more work than it is on the first half. So here's where I'm stopping for lunch. It's a really beautiful spot. I'm breaking snow. There's no one out here on this far other than me. You can see Pilot Rock out there. That's in Oregon. And then if I look further south, you can see Mount Shasta. That's in California. So I'm right on the Oregon-California border. And if you look back at where I came from, you can see the top of Mount Ashland. And my car's parked not too far from there. So you get an idea of, you know, I'm probably 2 miles to 3 miles out. But I'm going to keep skiing a little bit more after lunch. I want to make sure that I have plenty of time to get out of here, though, before it gets dark. Okay, I think I've got to the point where I'm going to turn around. It's middle of the afternoon, and I've got rental skis that I'm using, and I have to get them back before the store closes. So I want to make sure I have enough time, and also don't want to run out of energy, because it's basically uphill going back. I'll try to show a little bit of the back side here. So here's kind of the end of the trail, and sun's starting to set, kind of telling me it's time to go back. So I'm going to turn around here and play it safe. Part of me wants to just keep going, because I love to explore. I'm an adventure guy, even as a senior citizen. But, you know, I need to turn around, I think, and head on back. And it was a good day. So I'm going to work my way back to the car now. Here's the route I took to my turnaround point at Bull Gap. All right, now that I'm getting closer to the parking lot, you can see I'm back on the well-trotted trail, so I can glide fairly well on this trail, so I'm not breaking the snow anymore. I'm just gliding across where other people have gone. So right here is the 1 mile marker. I just happened to see it, so I'm only 1 mile away from the car, so should be there in plenty of time to get the skis back into town to the rental place. Well, I made it back home after a really nice day of skiing. I really enjoyed it. The snow was great. It's hard to resist those days. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again on one of my senior moments.